Hi guys, Bomber here. Welcome back to the channel. So patch 1.11 just got announced, so without further ado let's take a look at the changes. So first of all, Aurelion Soul from 20 plus power of his allies into 25 plus total power. So yeah, not that big of a change. Aurelion Soul is still quite strong. It's gonna be a bit harder to level him up, which is probably what you want to achieve to get the full benefit of the control strategy that you are playing when you are into an Aurelion Soul. So let's read the comment on here. We love all the different decks and direction players have experimented with using Aurelion Soul. We definitely want him to be game ending, that's alright, but we do want to give players slightly more room to interact with Aurelion Soul, particularly since his spell shield prevents most traditional forms of interaction. So yeah, they are kinda saying that you can't really interact with Aurelion Soul himself. You probably could, but you need much more spells to do that, so yeah, it's kind of hard to deal with Aurelion Soul himself. You could like challenge him with some big units, but yeah, it's pretty difficult. Instead, most of the times you kind of want to interact with their other units which have a lot of powers, so that Aurelion Soul can't level up. And so yeah, by increasing the difficulty of doing so, you have more chances to remove other units and not let Aurelion Soul level up. So yeah, not that big of a change, won't really matter a lot. So then we see Radiant Guardian, and this is huge. This is very huge. Power from 5 to 4. This is like completely meta changing, I may say. So yeah, let's read the comment. A triggered Radiant Guardian can shut down games and be too deterministic in the outcome of certain matchups. And we want there to be more wiggle room for opponents to beat the card beyond just playing around its condition. So basically they're saying that as Aurelion Soul, you can't really counter Radiant Guardian, at least in some decks, if not to just not anything die on your opponent's board, and so that the Radiant Guardian can't come down with lifesteal and tough. So yeah, by decreasing its power, at least it is not that much like shutting the game out in certain matchups, as they are saying. But continuing, we are preserving Radiant Guardian's staying power while reducing her attack and lifesteal potential, which will allow opposing units and champions they recycle him to make more profitable attacks when she's on the board. So yeah, there are two main aspects of this. The first is that she's gonna trade a bit more poorly. A 5 mana 4/5 stat line is not that great because it doesn't trade into 5/5 on herself, although if she has stuff, it's basically a 4/6, you may look at it. So yeah, still quite hard to remove, but at least with a 5/5 you can attack into her and not let the 5/5 die. So she can't really trade with two 5/5s, which is a pretty huge deal. A 4/4 could die to that. So yeah, now she only trades smoothly with 4 drops or less, which is nice. But obviously the biggest aspect of this is that, also on the same note for the first argument, is that when you like single combat or stuff like that, like what's the other, the strike, the 2 units of yours strikes another. So yeah, she has less removal potential in those kind of interactions. And the second one is of course that you are gonna heal less with Radiant Guardian. And probably maybe saying that this is useless right now is a bit tough, but it probably will not, I may say it, like Demacia decks with Radiant Guardian control strategies will be so much less efficient, in my opinion, that we may see that Demacia into control, like Demacia Targon, stuff like that, it's gonna pretty much disappear on the meta. It may be a bit too rough for me to say this, but really, this is a meta polarizing card, and this change definitely will change the meta. But moving on, then we see Inspiring Mentor, power from 1 to 2 and health from 2 to 1. So yeah, I'm a pretty big fan of this change. Always, I felt like the Inspiring Mentor stat line did not really fit with this aggressive play effect. So yeah, definitely a very good design option, the design choice. And also I don't think that on the perspective of balance it is too broken. Probably before it was okay to do this change because elusive was very strong, but now Ionia is seeming a bit like a decline. So yeah, there is no point in not buffing some of their cards. Aggressive Ionian strategies haven't been able to make great use of Inspiring Mentor since we last adjusted it. With this change and the 1-2 picks below, we are looking to give Ionian aggro decks a bit more early power, which is fine. Probably won't matter a lot, but in some other metas I could see the Inspiring Mentor coming into play. Now this card is playable, before it was not. Then we see picks, held from 1 to 2, still unplayable, nothing really much to say here. We want picks to be more resilient and create more opportunities for support decks to do their thing. If this was a 1 mana 1/1, it could be okay, but it having 0 power, it's simply just useless. It dies to anything and it doesn't trade into anything, which is, at least with a 1/1, it could trade into something, which was okay, but at 0/2 only dies and doesn't trade, so yeah, still unplayable in my opinion. Jack the Winner, held from 6 to 5. Jack the Winner's health made him too effective at slowing down games and taking full advantage of the inevitability created through Sleep with the Fishes, while also making him generally difficult to remove. So yeah, will not really matter a lot. Like in this meta, what I could see that it is relevant is that Genevieve Helmart will be able to train into him, so basically in the first attack you trade one of their stuff and then you trade Jack the Winner, which could matter most of the time, so definitely a nerf of course, but will it really matter a lot? Still, the Sleep with the Fishes can still be used 3 times on Jack the Winner, because the range of health doesn't change how much you can use that. So yeah, for sure a nerf. I didn't see that coming. I don't think that on burn strategies Jack the Winner is the most oppressive one. So yeah, not a big fan of this change, but still, whatever. Then we have Petty Officer, and wow, I did call it into my videos with Runeterra guides. At least they did get one thing right. Petty Officer held from 2 to 1. This is a revert to a change we made several months ago, since Petty Officer is currently offering just too much raw stat power given its versatility. It was a bit too powerful in both controlling and aggressive Bilgewater strategies, so we are reining in some of the baseline value it offers while preserving its overall flexibility. So yeah, a very big fan of this, really can't say anything, there is nothing wrong in this. You are basically just trading flexibility, which this card has, for raw stats power, and you can't have both in one card. So this card, I like it being flexible, but giving it also too much stat, it's not really a good, healthy design choice, because really, when you see a 3-drop in Bilgewater, you always want to run Petty Officer. There is no way that you're not putting Petty Officer in your deck, as they are saying, both in controlling and aggressive Bilgewater strategies, which is not a healthy design. So a very big fan of this change, although currently I'm ranking with a Bilgewater deck, so it will hurt a bit my win rate, or probably I will remove Petty Officer altogether from the deck. But yeah, it is better for the game, so I can't complain. And then Bastion. Wow, this is very huge. Old text, give an ally spell shield this round. New text, grant an ally +1/+1 and spell shield. This is like completely bonkers. This is like the most insane buff we ever seen, in my opinion, at least that I remember. The sizable buff is intended to both position Bastion as a core card within Targon and provide a boost to Targon buff decks. The new design should also work much better with Taric or other decks that benefit from proactively casting spells. This is completely bonkers. This and the Lee Sin buff will probably get the Lee Sin deck as well with Taric in a very good spot. Probably it is already S tier, but now it's completely broken, in my opinion. Imagine you go into Taric, then you play Lee Sin, and then when you attack with Taric, you cast Bastion on Taric, and it also gives Spell Shield to Lee Sin as well as the Grant +1/+1, which you could use like reactively to some kind of even not only the removals, which the spell shield accounts for, but also combat. The +1/+1 could save a unit from combat. So yeah, this is probably a 3-off now in every Targon deck. There is no way around it. Probably aggressive Targonian decks will not run this, but any other kind of deck, now Bastion is completely broken really. So yeah, the sizable buff is then to both position Bastion as a core card within Targon and provide a boost. Okay, yeah, I already read that. So yeah, I was rereading it to get it right that Bastion has a core card within Targon. I felt the same way, where when I saw this card, I felt like this is like the core card for Targon, or at least one of the core cards for Targons, and it didn't really felt like it when you played the game. Just the give Anali Spell Shield this round was a bit too reactive. Now it could be also played proactively, as I said, with Taric, which is a much better fitting card in Targon, the Targon identity, in my opinion. So then Cosmic Inspiration basically doesn't refill the spell mana anymore. Won't really matter. I did see that Cosmic Inspiration is one of the strongest card to like some mid-range style of deck, not really control, of course control because you have Aurelion Soul at the end, but more like mid-range with a finisher, which is Aurelion Soul. And in those kind of decks where you also go wide on the board, like with Solari Priestess and stuff like that, giving a +2/+2 is very very strong, and it only costed 4 if you think about it, because you refill your spell mana. So it was a bit too strong. Now it is much more costly, basically from 4 to 7, mostly double the cost, and you could still go for that in some occasions where you have a whiteboard, but now when you don't have already the whiteboard, you will probably not pick Cosmic Inspiration. Definitely nerfing this card. Does it matter though? Because those are celestial cards. You simply will pick another. I don't know about this change. Definitely it feels alright. But why on celestial cards, and why this card in particular? There are much stronger finishers. I don't know. The mana refund on Cosmic Inspiration circumvented many of the costs associated with invoking, and could feel too polarizing in certain slower matchups. Well, that's fine, maybe. Like, they meant this to be, when you invoke, you are the control deck, and I don't know, probably in the mirror, if you are control against control, you could be getting too fast suddenly with Cosmic Inspiration. That could be alright, but still, I don't know, not really get this change. Then Grandfather Rumul, grant an ally +0/+4, instead now it's grant 2 allies +0/+4. Grandfather Rumul hasn't been matching up well against other expensive followers, so we are doubling down on his playability. I don't know, still too costly. It's okay as a finisher because it has... this card is really strange because it has 8/4 as a stat line, Overwhelm, so this is obviously it could be seen as a finisher with high attack and Overwhelm, but then you have a defensive play effect, which also requires you to be wide to get the full benefit now. The spell shield is okay, but it really is traded so well with everything. 4 health is just too little for an 8-cost unit, so yeah, probably won't matter. This card is still trash, in my opinion. Then we see Ash, finally, and there are some very very interesting comments that I'm gonna read. But anyway, for now, silence a unit this round, create a fleeting Ash in hand. Now instead it is silence a unit this round, so it stayed the same, but create a fleeting Ash in hand that costs 1 more. But there is more to come, and here is the comment. Ash is a card that the Live Design team has spent a lot of time evaluating. Its ability to silence even champions for a round was meant to add to lore's interactivity, allowing previously unavailable counterplay to certain strategies and combinations. However, Ash's repeated fleeting design is also contributing to the opposite, by excessively punishing certain strategies and itself shutting down counterplay opportunities. And this is basically what you always see when you're playing against Ash. It's just really punishing. Ash is a very hard punish on some strategies. For example, Devo Endure really saw a decline just because of this card, and the Swim Stream extensively discussed on this matter, and I totally agree with him. It is too polarizing, very. So yeah, definitely agree with this. Initially, we locked in the change you see here for patch 1.11 to make it more difficult for a single Ashe to apply multiple silences. However, since then, we have continued to discuss the card and listen to your feedback. Ultimately, the ability to silence champions is a core strength we want to preserve in Targon, and I'm fine with this. On the other hand, repeatable AoE access to silence is difficult to justify in a region that we also want to have a general weakness against the white boars in combat. So here is more. For that reason, we decided to ready another change for the next patch, 1.12, as well, where we'll remove Ashe's repeatable aspect entirely and reduce its cost. This change should focus Ashe on its core intended function and generally reduce frustration when playing against it. We're also incorporating our learnings into design work for future Targon cards. So definitely I really like that Riot is listening to the player feedback a lot. Something that we don't really see in other games, such as Hearthstone, for example. The design team is completely out of the place, but anyway, let's not complain about other games. So they are definitely listening to them, and they are also doing the best choice ever, in my opinion, to change those problems, because the player base it's like doctor and patient. The player base is the patient. The doctor can't really feel what the patient is saying, is feeling. So the work of the patient is to communicate as he possibly best could what he's feeling to the doctor, and then the doctor has to listen to that feedback and deliver the solution. Most of the times the players of course say what is wrong, what they feel it is wrong, which is their like work, their job, but they also like provide a solution to that problem by themselves, and it is most of the times not always the right choice, because obviously it's not their job. There is a doctor for that, and so yeah, they are good at listening and also good at solving the problems that the patient, in this case the player base, is saying to them. So yeah, definitely cheers to Riot. Very good game design and everything. I accept everything said here. Then we move on. Mountain Goat, the last card, probably the last, last but not least. In this case, is the last and the least. So yeah, Mountain Goat health from 1 to 2. This general usability buff aimed at letting Mountain Goat both provide more consistent access to gems and act as a better potential target for buff heavy decks. Well, like, it is not completely useless, this change, because both with Bastion and stuff, I could see these fitting into the Lee Sin deck, maybe a bit more aggressively with Mountain God as well. So yeah, not completely useless, but still, kind of not a big fan of this. Yeah, it could see play, this is a very good buff, still a bit uncertain about this card, but yeah, could see play. So yeah, that's it for this patch, that's it for this video. Hope you liked it and find it useful, and as always, see ya!